my name is Berry, and today we are going to be watching dumbest mistakes that got serial killers caught. I'm gonna be honest with you, don't leave me around a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch because I will not get caught for the damages. Let's check it out.
Not every killer is caught by genius detectives. Some criminals get caught because they mess up in ways that make no sense.
Yeah, every time I watch like a documentary about somebody, I feel like I could do it better. Okay, well, let's not make this an incriminating video, but there's gotta be somebody who understands what I'm trying to say.
Mistakes so dumb, you can't believe they actually happened. Today, we're looking at serial killers who got caught for dumb mistakes. As usual, we'll go from shocking cases to those that are just insane. So,
why they wear the same glasses?
2.5 million subscribers by the end of 2026.
Yay!
Can we actually do it?
Yes!
I don't know, but you know, we gotta dream big.
Please.
It would mean the world if you subscribe, and I will do my very best to make the best videos I possibly can for you.
Yay!
I'm Visual Venture, and you are awesome.
And you need to go to subscribe. You need to go subscribe to him right now. You promise? I'm watching. Did you do it?
Dennis Nielsen. This criminal was caught because he didn't understand how toilets worked. His name was Dennis.
Me neither. Yesterday I dropped my suit in the toilet and I had to come back to stream and wear it.
Nielsen. For years, he was one of Britain's most dangerous criminals. Then one careless mistake in the bathroom exposed everything. Dennis grew up in Scotland in the 1940s. He seemed completely normal, but when Dennis was 6, his grandfather passed away. They were very close and loss broke him. He began to develop a fear of abandonment.
Nielsen started to have a fear that he could be abandoned by anybody at any time.
That fear followed him into adulthood. Dennis became withdrawn and antisocial.
It was said that Dennis was just like in his bed and he would just read newspapers and keep to himself.
He had other personal issues, but he didn't open up to anyone. That isolation.
Was that a real puppy? He was kind of downright adorable. I'm gonna be honest with you. That was the cutest dog I've ever seen.
And keep to himself.
He had other personal issues, but he didn't
Look at him! He needs a movie! Oh my god!
open up to anyone. That isolation slowly changed him. By the late 1970s, Dennis was unstable and having violent thoughts. In December 1978, Dennis went to a bar near his home. He met a young man named Steven. They talked for a while, and Steven followed Dennis back to his flat. When it was time for Steven to leave, Dennis felt the same fear he battled all his life.
Do you guys ever think that like anybody in the real world could do this? I don't know. I get scared. This kind of stuff makes me think that I have such bad RNG that this could happen to me.
The fear of abandonment.
Dennis was more worried or kind of panicking that Steven might leave. Like he couldn't bear another day alone.
That panic consumed him. In a moment of madness, Dennis ended Steven. It was his twisted way of making sure Steven would never leave him. Then came the next problem, what to do with the body. At the time, Dennis's apartment was on the ground floor, so he decided to hide Steven's body under the floorboards. It wasn't just about hiding evidence. He believed keeping the body nearby was a form of companionship.
No! But wait, what happens? Because like the bodies decompose and stuff too, right? Ew, no.
Months, no one suspected a thing. Soon, the urge returned. About a year later, Dennis took another life, and then he did it again and again. Over the next few years, he ended multiple people. Most of his victims were young men he invited to his apartment. He would end them before they could leave, then hide the remains. He buried some in the garden and hid others under the floorboards. Dennis became an expert at disposing of remains. Then his landlord ruined everything for him. In 1981,
first W landlord? Are we seeing the first big dub?
Dennis's landlord told him to move out, so he moved to a smaller flat a few miles away. But the new place made hiding bodies much harder. It was on the top floor. That meant he couldn't bury his victims, so Dennis improvised. When he ended his victims, he put them into cupboards and drawers. It didn't take long for those places to fill up. Running out of options, Dennis made a reckless choice. Dennis decided to flush them down the toilet. That was a terrible idea. The drains clogged almost immediately. Soon, the entire apartment building was filled with a foul stench.
Oh, so like even your neighbors smell it too? That is horrible.
Frustrated neighbors hired a plumber to find out what was blocking the pipes. When the plumber saw what was inside the drain, he had to call the police.
And these police took these chunks of meat to a pathologist who confirmed that they were in fact pieces of human flesh.
Plumbers
What?
and police traced the source to Dennis's flat.
I said to him, I'm here because your drains were blocked with human remains.
Oh my god. This would be very scary to like have to confront him, because if somebody is like putting people down the toilet, I would be really scared to talk to them, because I would think that maybe I'm next. You don't know how dangerous this guy is.
And he said, oh my God, how awful.
He was arrested in February 1983. By that time, he already ended at least 16 people. At the trial, Dennis pleaded not guilty, claiming
What? Oh.
he had a mental defect. The jury didn't believe him. He was sentenced to life in prison. Dennis remained behind bars until May 2018, when he passed away. Dennis thought flushing remains down the toilet would make them disappear. But drains don't work that way. What you flush stays in the system. It builds up. And
Is that real? Do I got doo-doo poo-poo just hanging out? If someone were to go down my toilet right now, they'd be assaulted by the great and mighty poo? Oh my god, what about people who flush their fish? That would be really sad. Like, he's just in a world of shit.
eventually someone finds it. The internet works the same way. When your personal information is online, it doesn't just vanish. Your address, your phone number gets spread across the internet. A few years ago, someone...
Where do you think the waste goes? I don't know. When I watched Finding Nemo, he had a pretty clean ride. Like, that was like Schlitterbahn. He was going down the slip and slide. Ew, wait, if that was accurate, that movie would have been disgusting. Ew!
found my personal information online and used it to threaten me and my family. That was the moment I realized how exposed we really are. It's because these data broker websites make money by selling your information. And what's crazy to me is that it is completely legal, but they're also legally required to remove your data if you request it. So I tried deleting my data online by myself, but there were just hundreds of these websites that had them, so I gave up. That's exactly how today's sponsor,
We need IRL cyber chase. We need to start employing mother suckers to just go in there and wreak havoc.
Aura can help. Aura finds out which websites have your information, then they handle every removal request for you. In just a few weeks, you'll notice less spam calls, less junk mail, and your information becomes way harder to find online. But Aura doesn't just stop at data removal. It monitors the dark web and alerts you if your data shows up there. So if someone tries to take out credit or open a bank account using your name, Aura will alert
If you're trying to take out credit under my name, good luck.
you right away.
Yeah,
In the
try
worst
your
case
best.
scenario, you're covered by up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. And because Aura protects you from every angle, they give you a VPN, antivirus software, and a password manager, which all help you stay safe online. If you guys want to try Aura, click the link in the description or head to aura.com/VV for a 14-day free trial. That gives Aura enough time to find out if your personal data is already being sold online. Up next is a criminal who got caught because he couldn't help but brag about his crimes.
I feel like this happens more than not. Like, somebody will do something, and nowadays they'll commit a crime, and they're like, "Yep, that's going on TikTok, Snapchat. Everybody's gonna know." Like, just commit the crime if you're gonna be illegal about it. My God.
A criminal who got caught because he couldn't help but brag about his crimes. Dennis Rader. Most serial killers try to stay hidden. Dennis Rader did the opposite. He spent years
Dude, I'm not trying to like talk him up or nothing, but like Dennis Rader sounds like an online name. Like, this is like a username.
sending messages to the police bragging about his crimes. In each message, he dared them to catch him. Rader saw himself as a criminal mastermind, but one dumb mistake proved he was anything but that. In the 1960s, Dennis Rader worked as a home security technician. He would
Wait, this is like Breaking Bad!
go to different homes installing alarms and security systems. He seemed like a devoted father and husband. People were
But he was really just seeing what you got. Smelling the diamonds, and then probably just yoinking them too.
saying that he looked like a pillar of the community. But
Dude, I don't trust anybody wearing these glasses. Pretty much every serial killer in like this 40-year span had the same specs.
Behind that image, Rader was hiding violent fantasies. He just hadn't acted on them yet. That changed when Rader realized something disturbing. His job as a home security technician gave him direct access to people's homes and to potential victims. As Rader moved from house to house, he picked out people he wanted to attack. He chose those who looked vulnerable and lived alone. Soon he had a list of targets. The first...
This is why I go to the gym. Ain't nobody messing with me. They're gonna come in my house. They're gonna see that I got boom, locked and loaded, boom, 2 big guns, ba 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 ba.
Was a woman named Julie. One morning, Rader broke into her home. He expected her to be alone, but her husband and 2 kids were there too. Rader ended everyone. Before leaving, he cleaned everything that could be traced back to him, and he did a good job. When police arrived, they found nothing solid to go on. Months later, Rader went after the next person on his list. Once again, the police had no leads. Most people stay silent after getting away with murder. For Rader, that silence was unbearable.
He just looks evil. Am I allowed to say that? You know what? I don't care if I'm allowed to say that. You look evil.
The world to know how smart he was, so he decided to introduce himself to the public. Months after his second crime, Rader mailed an anonymous letter to the police. In it, he claimed responsibility for the crimes. He also revealed the name he wanted to be known by.
Oh my God. He just wanted to be clouded up. He didn't want to wait for his serial killer name. He wanted to have his own username. My God.
BTK. It stood for Bind, Torture, End Them. The media picked up the story. The BTK...
Wait, that's what that means? Dude, I thought it was like Burger the King. I was very confused.
Strangler became a national headline. Rader loved the attention, and it motivated him to resume his crime spree. Over the next several years, he ended at least 10 people. After each crime, he mailed letters, poems, and puzzles to the police. He used fake return addresses so nothing could be traced back to him. Sometimes he described where the victims could be found. Other times, he dared the police to catch him, but they never could. Sometimes there was nothing else that the police could do except to wait for the next victim. Rader was obsessed with attention, and that obsession is what ruined him. By 2004, mailing letters no longer excited Rader. He wanted to go digital. Now he wanted to type letters on a computer, save them on floppy disks, and mail them to cops. A floppy disk was an early form of digital storage like...
Am I that old that in YouTube videos now they have to describe what a floppy disk is? Oh, hell no! Oh, no!
A USB stick, but he wasn't sure if the police could trace where a disc came from. So he did something unbelievable. He asked them. He mailed one last letter and asked, "Can I communicate with floppy and not be traced to a computer? Be honest." He told them to reply through a newspaper ad, and they did.
The police responded in a newspaper ad saying that it was safe to use the floppy disk.
But that response was a lie. The truth is that a floppy disk can reveal exactly which computer it came from, but Rader believed them.
And he fell.
What a goofball. Like, were libraries not invented yet? Could you not research this? He's gonna believe the police? Huh?
For it. He literally believed the police.
He mailed the disc. When investigators examined it, they found 2 key details. The file was created at an address in Wichita, Kansas, and it was made by someone named Dennis. Police tracked him down. In February 2005, Dennis Rader was arrested.
He signed the damn thing! He gave him a digital autograph!
Near his home. His trial became a media spectacle. Parts of it were even broadcast on TV. Millions watched as Rader calmly described his crimes.
When they came out of the house, I came in and confronted the family, and then we went from there.
He was sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms in prison. Dennis
Do they do that just so you don't get parole? Or like you can't get out on good behavior? So they just like stack it and stack it and stack it because you can't be like 10 lifetimes worth of a nice person.
Rader is still serving that sentence. Up next is a case where the criminal
alive?
fell in love with his victim, Bobby Joe Long. Everyone handles heartbreak differently, but when Bobby Joe Long's relationship ended, he snapped and innocent people ended up paying the price. Bobby's problems started long before he got his heart broken. As a child, he hit his head again and again.
Long had a lot of head trauma. He fell off a swing. He got a concussion. He fell off a pony and had a concussion.
Why is he concussion maxing? Why do we already have a concussion and we're getting on ponies? That'd be the last thing I'd be doing.
Those injuries damaged part of his brain tied to judgment and behavior control. Because of that, Bobby struggled to tell right from wrong. Years later, a bad breakup pushed him over the edge. According to Bobby, the relationship ended in his 20s. After that, he blamed women for everything wrong in his life. Eventually, that hatred led to horrifying actions. In 1980,
just go where everybody else hates women. Go play Rust. I don't know. Get it out that way.
Bobby started targeting women across Florida. His strategy was simple.
No! And he's in Florida! Everything bad happens in Florida! Why?
He searched newspaper ads for used items, particularly bedroom furniture. He contacted women who were selling furniture and arranged to pick it up at their homes.
This is why I'm not talking to nobody. I'm not selling nobody nothing. I'm not hanging out with anybody. I'm not inviting you over. I'm just gonna live my life on my computer and not talking to any Floridians.
When he arrived, he attacked them. This pattern continued for about 3 years, and something forced him to change his approach. In 1983, one victim reported Bobby to the police. However, Bobby lied, claiming the encounter was consensual, and he managed to avoid jail. It was a close call, but Bobby didn't want to risk being reported again, so he vowed to never leave a victim alive. In 1984, Bobby's crimes escalated. He began abducting and ending people. Then,
guys, let me give you some advice. The lesson there was to never do it again. Not to do it even worse.
he made the dumbest mistake that landed him behind bars. In November 1984, he abducted Lisa McVeigh.
I remember thinking of my family, my sister, my brothers. What are they gonna do without me?
At first, Lisa begged him to free her. That only made Bobby angrier, so she tried another approach. She listened to Bobby and asked questions almost like a therapist.
There was a moment we had a conversation. I had asked him, why was he doing this to me? He said due to a recent breakup, he was getting back at women in general.
Lisa realized her survival depended on gaining his trust. She told Bobby she understood him. She even offered to be his girlfriend.
Dude, this is insane survival instinct. Like, she outwitted him. That is crazy.
I said, listen, I can be your girlfriend. We don't have to tell anybody how we met. You see?
Yeah, she talked no jutsu'd. You're right.
Like a pretty nice guy.
She promised to keep their relationship secret. They could live happily ever after. All he had to do was let her go. Somehow, Bobby believed her. He drove Lisa back toward her home.
Well, let's say Joe Long, Bobby. You're getting a long stay in the jail, okay?
On the way, he stopped at an ATM to withdraw cash. After 26 hours in captivity, Bobby released Lisa. As soon as he left, she ran straight to the police. Lisa reported everything she could remember: the make and model of Bobby's car, the location of the ATM, and his physical description. With all that information, it didn't take long for investigators to find him. Bobby was arrested in November 1984. At first,
hey, at least there's no women in like the same prison he's going to. I mean, I guess he got what he wanted.
With Lisa's abduction. But when police searched his home, they found evidence linking him to other cases. Bobby confessed. He was sentenced to execution. That sentence was carried out in May 2019.
Oh, he died.
This next chapter is about the criminal who got caught because he wanted a haircut. Earl Nelson.
Everybody has like a crazy name. I don't know how to explain it. Like Earl Nelson. My name is Earl Nelson.
Earl Nelson ended multiple people and evaded police in 2 countries. But in the end, it wasn't an investigation that caught him. He was exposed as a killer because he wanted a haircut. Earl
learn to cut your own hair! Hello?
Earl became a criminal after an accident. When he was 10, he was in a serious cycling accident. He suffered a severe head injury and...
Dude, isn't that crazy how much getting a bump on your head can like change the entire trajectory of your life? Like, you just go insane. It's actually really scary.
Slipped into a coma. When he woke up, something about him was different.
Earl was never the same after this. He had large gaps in his memory, and he suffered from severe headaches for the rest of his life.
Over the next few years, he became moody and
I have a question. Does this not happen to people who do like mixed martial arts or like play football or like contact sports? Like, I feel like that's a very big way to get your head hurt really fast. Oh, it's called CTE? What is that? It does? Huh. I never thought about that. No, I don't know who Chris is. Chris Benoit, or is it Chris Benoit, is he French? It's prevalent in football. Oh, wait, he's a wrestler. Oh my God, that's so scary.
Predictable. But things were about to get worse. When Earl was 19, he fell off a ladder and got a second head injury. That second blow pushed him even further into madness.
We just keep head injury maxing. Get off the ladder.
Began losing his grasp on sanity.
Earl started spending a lot of time in the basement, and he also started hearing voices.
His behavior frightened everyone around him. Eventually, his own family told him to leave their home. By his late 20s, Earl was isolated and consumed by...
Dude, his family should have helped him. They just said, get out? Like, did they not want to get him treatment or take him to a doctor or have somebody talk to him?
Violent thoughts. Then he snapped. Earl's first victim was a landlady named Clara Newman. In 1926, Earl visited her pretending to rent a room. As soon as she let him inside, he ended her. When the police examined the scene, they found little evidence. They thought it was an isolated crime. But 2 weeks later, Earl ended another landlady, this time in San Jose, California. Just like before, he pretended he was searching for a place to rent. And when the landlady let him in, he attacked. Panic spread across the community.
The brutal murders horrified residents, and a $1,500 reward was released, equivalent to $20,000 in 2015.
That's it? If you want me to confront this guy, I'm gonna need more than 20,000. Be honest.
In hopes that they could capture the unknown killer.
No.
The newspapers even gave him a name, the Dark Strangler. Over the next few months, Earl ended multiple...
You're only offering 20,000 for the Dark Strangler? What the hell?
people across several states: Oregon, Iowa, Kansas, and Illinois. Earl traveled constantly. He used a rotation of fake names and false identities. He would arrive in a new town, attack someone, and leave before authorities could react. For nearly 16 months, he stayed one step ahead of
Creepypasta ass name. One Piece Bounty. You guys are funny.
the law. Then a haircut ruined everything for him. Earl had enough hair on his head for someone to grab and pull. Unfortunately for him, someone did. In June 1927, Earl tried to end someone in Canada, but his victim didn't go down without a fight. She scratched and clawed. She even tore out chunks of his hair, leaving wounds on his scalp. He managed to end her and escape, but his hair was a mess. The next day, Earl walked into a barber shop.
Dude, she doesn't even know, but she got him caught. If she didn't fight back and didn't do that, who knows how many more people he would have, like, confronted.
For a trim. The barber immediately noticed the scabs and bald patches.
His barber said that he had scabs and cuts all over his scalp, and he got really weird when the barber asked him about it.
The barber became suspicious and called the police. By that time, Earl already left the barber shop, but the barber provided a full description. Soon after, Canadian authorities issued a nationwide alert. 5 days later, an officer spotted Earl at a train station. He was arrested. By then, Earl ended at least 22 people. At his trial, his lawyers argued he was insane, but that defense didn't save him. Earl Nelson was given the death penalty. The execution was carried out in January 1928. Up next is a criminal who practically arrested himself. Arthur Shawcross. Everyone has habits, even serial killers. Arthur Shawcross had one of the worst habits a criminal could have. He loved revisiting the places where he committed his crimes.
Oh, this has to be like a trophy thing, right? Like, sometimes when people are like serial, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to even say it, honestly. I don't know the YouTube rules. If they're serial, they like take trophies home and then they get caught because they wanted like a souvenir.
Just to look around and admire his work. That dumb habit became the reason he was arrested. Even as a child, Arthur had a violent streak.
In school, the teachers characterized him as lazy.
Serial Michael Jackson. No! It was supposed to be like a serial song. It was not Michael Jackson. How did two people say that?
He was aggressive and would bully other children.
At 21, he joined the U.S. Army. He was sent to fight in Vietnam. Life at the war front gave him freedom to act on his violent impulses.
He claimed to have been a one-man patrol in Vietnam and that he killed 39 combatants.
When Arthur returned home, he reportedly experienced severe PTSD. He struggled to hold a job and developed an antisocial personality. Those issues influenced what he did next. In 1972, Arthur ended the lives of his first 2 victims, but he was sloppy. Witnesses saw him with one of the victims before the crime. He was arrested and sentenced to 25 years in prison. But halfway through that sentence, Arthur applied for early release, and it was approved. Prison officials claimed he was no longer dangerous. It couldn't have been more wrong.
Prison didn't do much for Arthur's already troubled mind, and once he was released, he was much worse than before.
As soon as he was free, Arthur began hunting again.
Yeah, how does that happen? We got the foot fondler was in jail for 12 years. Yeah, only 22 people. Yeah, whatever.
Over the next 2 years, he ended multiple women. Police knew they were dealing with a serial killer, but finding him wasn't easy. Arthur left no fingerprints and followed no clear pattern. However, he had one weakness. After every crime, Arthur returned to the scene to relive the attack.
He's LARPing. And they never caught him until way later? And he was role-playing at the site of the killings? This is crazy.
And he hid her body under a tree, went home. Then he said he returned several months later.
Detectives eventually noticed this pattern. Someone kept coming back to the crime scenes, so they made a simple plan. If they wanted to catch him, they just had to wait near one of his old crime scenes.
Put a
In
camera!
January 1990, police found another victim buried in a field. They believed the culprit would return to the site. So this time, they left it undisturbed and set up surveillance around the area. Then they waited. 2 days later, their patience paid off. Arthur drove back to the crime scene.
It was what the police had been waiting for. FBI profilers had highlighted the killer's pattern of returning to the dead bodies.
Arthur got out of his car and examined the burial site.
Shock.
Is he gonna defend himself? He's like, I was just looking, like I was just walking around, and I just wanted to, like, I don't know, start dancing.
Cross returned to the bridge to make sure that the body was far enough under the bridge so we couldn't observe it.
He seemed almost proud of himself.
I guess I could say I was enjoying myself.
That's him? Yeah. Wait, that's him?
He seemed almost proud of himself.
I guess.
That's him. Mr. Bob's Burgers himself? Oh, hell no.
I could say I was enjoying myself.
He had no idea he was being watched. Eventually, officers moved in and arrested him. It was January 1990, just 2 years after his release from prison. By then, Arthur Shawcross already ended at least 14 people.
Jeez.
At trial, his defense argued insanity. They claimed PTSD and childhood trauma caused his crimes. It didn't work. Arthur was found legally sane and sentenced to 250 years.
Damn! He's going to the hole! He's gonna be like Bane.
Passed away behind bars in 2008. This next criminal got caught because he parked in the wrong spot. David Berkowitz.
What?
For most of his early life, David Berkowitz felt unwanted. He was adopted as an infant, and he grew up wondering why his real parents gave him away. When he finally discovered the reason, he went crazy. When David turned 21, he tracked down his birth mother. She told him he was the result of an affair she had with a married man. In fact, both his biological parents were married to other people when he was born, and that's why they gave him away. That information triggered a psychological breakdown in David. He began to unravel. Around this time, he developed an interest in the occult. He became obsessed with devil worship and dark rituals. Soon after, he claimed he was hearing voices of demons in his head.
This happened at my high school.
Demon-esque things that were possessing him. He wasn't just himself.
By 1975, David lost touch with reality, and that's when the violence began. David's crime spree began in December 1975. He attacked a random woman on the street. She survived, and David escaped. But the voices of demons inside his head didn't stop. They demanded more. In July 1976, David fired a weapon at 2 young women sitting in a car. This time, one person lost their life. It was the first time he ended someone, but it wouldn't be his last. Over the next several months, he ended multiple people.
I always feel like it's a domino effect. Like, as soon as they, like, really hurt somebody, they're like, dang, I can just keep going. Like, now that I, like, broke through the first person, I'm just gonna, like, keep building and building and building and building and building.
Early 1977, detectives noticed a pattern.
The shooter had a specific type of victim who they preferred to target: women with long, dark hair.
New York realized they weren't dealing with random violence. There was a serial killer on the loose. To catch him, police formed a 200-person task force.
The crimes led to one of the biggest manhunts in the city's history.
Undercover officers patrolled neighborhoods. Detectives chased every possible lead. Still, they couldn't find anything.
But police still have nothing they'd be willing to describe as a hot lead in the case.
Meanwhile,
I always wondered that, like, why would you give a lead on the news? Like, I'd just be straight up watching the news all day if I was, like, going around like, hee hee, you know what I mean? Then I'm like, oh, they saw me there? Well, then I'm just not gonna go there anymore. Or they got this.
while the entire city was terrified, people stayed inside after dark. Stores lost money because customers were too afraid to go out at night. Women dyed their hair because they heard all the victims had long, dark hair. And through it all, David kept attacking. In 2 years, he ended 6 lives and injured several more. It seemed he would never stop. In July 1977, David drove to a neighborhood in the Bronx. He was hunting for his next victim. He found a couple sitting in their car and attacked them. The man survived, but the woman didn't. When David returned to his car immediately after the crime, he found a parking ticket on the windshield. He unknowingly parked too close to a fire hydrant. He didn't think much of it and drove away. Hours later, police arrived to investigate the crime. They questioned people in the area. One woman remembered seeing a strange man near a parked car.
The man come towards me and he looked me straight in the face. He looked at my door, and right here we crossed each other.
She believed he was the person responsible for the tragedy that night.
I didn't know he was a killer. I didn't know he looked nice.
She also noticed the parking ticket on David's car. That made it easy for detectives to find him. They pulled every ticket issued in that area that night. Within hours, they found the car she described.
Was registered David Berkowitz with an address in Yonkers.
Police brought David in for questioning. He confessed immediately.
Dude, I love when people say that. Like, what is that, like a New York accent? I like that. That just did something to my brain.
David Berkowitz, 24 years old, a postal worker, walked out of his Yonkers apartment last night, turned the ignition key in his car, and found himself surrounded by police.
In court, David pleaded guilty. He received 6 consecutive life sentences. When the story hit the news, one detail stood out. This dangerous killer was caught because he parked in the wrong spot and got a parking ticket. Up next is a criminal who practically wrote down his crimes.
What?
Henry.
Dear diary, today I went up to a bunch of people and I hit them on the back of the head and they died. The end.
Landrew. Henry Landrew wasn't caught because of witnesses or a confession. He was caught because he loved to write. He wasn't writing stories or novels. He kept a diary to organize his life. And
it was a diary! Wait, that's actually kind of dark because it would be a diary. Oh.
Without realizing it, he wrote down the very details police needed to arrest him. In the late 1890s, Henry lived in Paris with his wife and 4 kids. But Henry couldn't keep a steady job, so he chose a different path: crime. Henry didn't want...
I can't find a job. You know what? F this. I'm done being a good person.
Want to be violent, so he became a scammer. He pretended to be an engineer and inventor.
Slippin'
He
Jimmy?
promised to design machines for paying clients. When orders came in, he disappeared with the cash. Police eventually caught him, and he was imprisoned for fraud. When Henry was released in 1909, he tried a new scam. This time, he targeted rich, elderly widows. He placed personal ads in newspapers looking for love. It was like Tinder in 1909. When women responded, Henry chose those with money. He would date them, gain their trust, and run off with their savings.
What? He was like cougar hunting, but then taking their coin? He wrong for that. Yeah, he the Tinder swindler.
He continues to place personal ads looking for women to meet, and more women fall into his trap.
The scam earned him a lot of money, but he didn't get the opportunity to enjoy his success. One heartbroken widow reported him for stealing her money. Henry was arrested again and sent back to prison. When he was released again in 1914, he had a new mindset. He figured if his victims were not alive, they couldn't report him. So Henry returned to his dating scam, except this time he planned to end every victim.
Okay, this is not a scam anymore. He passed the scamming.
Henry kept placing newspaper ads and meeting widows, but now the dates had a deadly ending.
Dude, look at that beautiful drawing.
Newspaper ads and meeting widows, but now the...
Look at that. This is so pretty. Just like the flow of the lines, the cross hatching. Like, this took somebody a long time. This is very beautiful. I had to go back Yeah, the bulging eyes.
Dates had a deadly ending. He invited women to his home outside the city. The only way to reach the house was by train. Henry bought round-trip tickets for himself and one-way tickets for the women. One-way tickets because he never planned for them to return. When they reached his house, Henry ended them.
His only motive is money. Once he gets that, he disposes of the women as quickly as possible.
To destroy evidence, he burned their remains in his oven. He repeated this process for years. He dated them, stole their money, and ended them at his house.
Over the years, neighbors often see him walking into the house with women, but never see the women leave.
He's like
As
a
the
praying
victims
mantis.
increased, Henry became wealthy. Soon, he had a new problem: accounting. He couldn't keep track of all his money, so Henry...
Suffering from success. What do you mean he couldn't keep track of all his money? My God, let that happen to me, please, God. Please.
Henry began writing everything down. He recorded names, gifts, and train tickets in a small notebook. It helped him stay organized, but that notebook became the biggest mistake of his life. By 1917, Henry's notebook was packed with names. That same year, he met his next target, a woman named Celestine. As always, Henry charmed her and took her money. Then he ended her at his home outside the city. When Celestine disappeared, her sister grew worried. She remembered Celestine dating a strange man before she vanished. She also remembered what Henry looked like. Years later, Celestine's sister spotted...
I mean, he's gotta not, like, have a look. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like everybody always has, like, a look. And then it's easy to identify you. Like, wear, like, a fursuit or something.
Henry on the street. She alerted a nearby officer, and Henry was arrested. When the police searched him, they found his notebook. It contained the names of many women, but they didn't understand what the names meant. Officers then searched his home. They found tiny bone fragments inside the oven. Remember, Henry burned the remains of his victims in that oven. Unfortunately, experts couldn't prove the bone fragments were human. It was 1919, and forensic science...
Wait, they can't prove they're human? What were they? Goblins? Demons? Oh, I forgot animals exist. My bad, I was like...
Science wasn't very advanced. The case went to trial. At first, it seemed Henry might walk free.
Landru and his defending counsel's main argument is that no bodies have been found, and that the bone fragments found in Landru's oven could have come from animals.
So investigators focused on Henry's notebook. They noticed a pattern. Henry always bought one-way tickets for the women and return tickets for himself. When they checked, those same women were reported missing.
Dude, he should have just bought tickets that go both ways and then he wouldn't have been caught. But the bad thing is that he wanted more money even though he had more money already, and then he couldn't even keep track of the money, so he had more money, more problems. And if he would have thought about it maybe a little bit better, he wouldn't have gotten caught.
Notebook became the main piece of evidence. Henry was found guilty and sentenced to execution. After his execution, Henry's story spread worldwide. It inspired movies, books, and radio shows. More than a century later, people still consider him one of France's most notorious criminals. These killers spent years hiding in plain sight, but eventually their masks slipped. It's proof that you can't fake being a good person forever. My friends, character isn't what you show people. It's who you are when no one is watching. Visual Venture.
Dude, that was so good. That was such a great video. I love the Visual Venture videos. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, remember to subscribe. Please check out the original channel. And leave a comment down below if you would like to watch more crime videos. Come by the Twitch stream to BerryCrepe, or use code Berry for 10% off your gamer subs order. It helps me one day get a booba cup. I hope you have a great evening. Goodbye, YouTube! Also, I hope YouTube is working, because it's apparently not working right now. Bye!